Alright everyone, you're about to embark upon the great campaign of watching the legacy media slowly transform 17-year-old Rittenhouse into a Nazi. It's going to be very, very interesting. Look at the differential coverage of these two incidents. In one incident, you have Jacob Blake, days ago. This is what starts the Kenosha riots in the first place. Jacob Blake. He goes to a gas station, starts waving a knife around, acting crazy. He gets into an altercation with a bunch of other people on a residential street. He's a wanted felon and a convicted violent felon in the past. He spars with officers. Their taser doesn't work, which means he's probably on drugs or alcohol at the time, which there's DUI, endangerment of minors, and so forth. He's assaulting the cops with a deadly weapon. He tells them openly he's going to get into his car, get a gun, and shoot them. They act in self-defense. They shoot him. Somehow, after 7 shots, fail to kill him, which doesn't make much sense. That was a really good surgical team, by the way. Either that or that cop should be fired for poor marksmanship. It's point-blank range. Come on, dude. I could have done better very easily, and I'm not exactly a trained veteran or something like that. Look at it, and the media weighs in, and they say, well, black man gets shot 7 times with his back turned. That was the initial coverage. Jacob Blake did nothing wrong. These officers are heinous. The governor of the goddamn state comes out and immediately condemns the officers. I bet now he wishes he had shut his goddamn pie hole. He should be immediately removed from his position. Tony Evers should be out today. He should resign. He condemned these officers, and he's caused hundreds of millions in riot damage to multiple communities in his state by initially condemning these officers instead of telling people to be calm and wait for an official report. We now know Jacob Blake was armed and dangerous and openly threatening the cops' lives. Now we look at the coverage of Rittenhouse, Kylerittenhouse. 17-year-old dude. I'm not going to use the term kid because that's so overused. It's like you can be up to 25 and they'll still call you a kid as long as you were the one getting shot by the police or something. 17-year-old shows up here. Now, technically, he went across state lines to do this, but he wasn't really breaking the law at the time, and I'm going to get into the complex legalese behind this. Let's just say that I don't expect him to go to federal supermax. Shows up, AR-15, wearing latex gloves for some unknown reason. I don't know, to keep powder burns off of his hands or something. I'm not exactly sure. He's wearing like flip-flops and shit. So he's obviously he's the doom zoomer, as you'd call him or something. Shows up to defend a business, ends up shooting a looter, which by the way is legal. Totally legal. Just so that people are aware, generally speaking, if somebody is in the commission of a violent act and is threatening the people around them, and they're invading a property that you have been enabled to defend, you've been called on by the property owner or whatever, that would generally be legal. Disclaimer, of course, I'm not giving you legal advice, and I do disavow all political violence, but he was shooting a looter. A bunch of angry rioters decided to chase him. He attempted at that time to flee. Not only that, he attempted to turn himself into the police. This is not a hardened Gestapo agent, hateful criminal. He did literally attempted to turn himself in. He didn't gun down a crowd of people. He trips. He gets attacked by one dude who tries to bash his skull in and take his gun. He shoots him. Another dude draws out a pistol. He shoots that other dude. Several people are shot. I think the 2 of them are dead. He's a pretty good shot. He didn't fire that many times. Anyway, he was, at the time, fleeing and in fear of his life. He had people throwing shit at him. He had a person draw a gun on him, and he acted in self-defense. The only argument that you could make that he should be charged in this situation with a crime would be that he went across state lines and had an AR-15 while being under 18. I'm assuming the gun wasn't registered to him. Now, I don't know Wisconsin-specific registry laws. That could be a problem. But he was acting in self-defense when he fired those shots. Now, for people who are saying, well, he's a criminal. He wasn't supposed to be there having that weapon in the first place, so he can't defend himself. Yes, he can. Because the people that were attacking him were also criminals. They were rioting. They were causing destruction of property. They were attacking him. One of them threatened him with a deadly weapon. Another one physically assaulted him. They were committing crimes too, and they were more criminal than being 17 while holding a weapon. Again, registry laws. Well, again, having a gun while you're a minor is not illegal either. You've all heard cases of some 12-year-old, some 13-year-old uses their dad's gun to shoot the burglar. Usually they're considered heroic for that. But you're about to see Kyle Rittenhouse turned into an evil Nazi. They've already begun. He was obsessed with cops. He was obsessed with Blue Lives Matter. He's like a boogaloo boy or something. No, he's a normal kid. He decided he wanted to go and help defend businesses. That should be considered noble. He shot a looter. A bunch of other looters and thugs decided to chase him down and try to fucking kill him. That's really what happened in this situation. If he hadn't fired the shots, by the way, we'd be hearing a different story. We'd be hearing about how he was dead. Only you wouldn't get major media coverage over that, because he would have died while being not one of the commies. He would have died while being the white kid who came in to defend a business. It'd be page B news. Everyone would go back to sleep. You wouldn't hear one mumbling fucking word from the legacy media or the Democratic Party about the problem of communists having killed a teenager. They killed a kid who he was there, just standing there, and they shot, they chased him down and they blew his head off. You wouldn't hear anything about it, and none of these fuckers would be deranged over the situation. But instead they're saying, well, anyone defending him is defending white supremacism. Where's the evidence that he's a white supremacist? He showed up to defend against criminals, against rioters. Sure, did he make a poor decision, potentially? Yeah, he's a 17-year-old. He's walking around like Rambo. That's not a great thing to do. But it shouldn't result in him going to Supermax. He's defending his own life. He was already being attacked in the process of this so-called crime. He was the one that was being victimized. He was victimized because he had shot a person who was looting and presumably threatening or attacking him already. That's legal. The other crimes he could have been potentially committing at the time by being there in the first place, they may apply, but they don't nullify the ability of a person to defend themselves. That's just the way that it works. He wasn't in, and this isn't a situation like, I already know what apples to oranges bullshit people are going to try to pull. Well, that's like saying that a burglar is allowed to shoot you if you're trying to defend your home. No, that's private property. It's a little bit different than being chased down the middle of the street by people who are already in the commission of violent felonies. Totally different situation. These people that are burning down Kenosha are already criminals. It is legal to defend yourself against criminals. Somebody was like, well, they had a right to chase him down because it was an active shooter situation. No, they didn't. No, you don't have the right to go vigilante in that situation. They didn't have any evidence that the shooting he had committed was criminal in nature. He was defending property. But you've got plenty of video evidence that all of these other people chasing him were already criminals, because we can see them lobbing Molotovs and bricks and attacking random people and burning storefronts. They're criminals. They're a bunch of communist thugs. And the governor of Wisconsin, by the way, is responsible for this whole situation. Kylerittenhouse wouldn't have had to fire a shot if it weren't for Tony Evers. Tony Evers came out and condemned the arresting officers of Jacob Blake on day one before he realized the real information was, oh yeah, he had a knife and he said he was going for a gun. He was wanted on violent felonies. He is a violent felon. He was endangering everyone around him. He was a fucking screwball, probably high at the time, considering a taser didn't do jack shit to him, and that tends to be the case when tasers don't deploy properly. What fucking more hypocrisy could you have than the differential between the way the legacy media is talking about this 17-year-old who was there to guard businesses, and the way they talk about a violent convicted felon and rapist who attacked officers with a knife and got shot because he said he was going to shoot them? They're totally different situations. But they say Jacob Blake and George Floyd and all these others, they were angels, never did anything wrong, they're perfectly great. You should go out and protest, which means in their mind riot. They still don't use the term riot for what's happening in Kenosha. Look at the fucking goddamn footage of this place. Fucking explosions and everything on fire, people shooting each other at this point, and it shouldn't have had to happen. If the legacy media was held to some degree of journalistic restraint and the governor of this state wasn't an opportunistic jack-off, then you wouldn't have these riots going on. It just wouldn't happen. Kenosha's not a large community. It's like Burlington. It's still burning to the ground. Thank you, Tony Evers. What a wonderful governor. Fucking resign. That's about all. Peace out.